Good morning. In Harris County, Texas, the day began like any other, quiet, calm, and full of promise. Residents woke to the gentle glow of sunrise, unaware that their lives would soon be upended by forces beyond their control. On November 24, 2025, northwest Harris County was blindsided by a violent tornadic storm. The sky darkened rapidly, and a sense of unease settled over the community as ominous clouds gathered overhead, signaling that something extraordinary was about to unfold. What started as a normal afternoon quickly spiraled into chaos. The National Weather Service issued urgent alerts as multiple tornadoes touched down with little warning, catching many off guard. Sirens wailed, and digital signs flashed warnings, but the storm's speed left little time to react. The main tornado struck near highways 249 and 2920, tearing through a busy suburban hub. Cars were tossed aside, power lines snapped, and debris littered the roads, making travel impossible and communication difficult. In just minutes, peaceful neighborhoods were transformed by roaring winds and shattered homes. Streets that once echoed with laughter now lay silent, covered in debris and broken memories. 24 weather watches were active across the region, but for residents, the threat was no longer distant or abstract. It was suddenly real and immediate. Phones buzzed with alerts, televisions blared warnings, and families scrambled to find shelter. The storm moved so quickly that many had no time to seek shelter. Some were caught outside, racing for cover as the winds howled and debris filled the air, while others huddled in closets and bathrooms hoping for the best. Despite the destruction, a miracle emerged. No serious injuries were reported. Emergency responders worked tirelessly, checking every home and ensuring that everyone was safe. Every resident was accounted for, a testament to quick thinking, sturdy homes, and the vigilance of neighbors looking out for one another in the face of disaster. The material loss was immense. Homes, cars, and cherished possessions were gone in an instant. But as the community gathered to help one another, it became clear that their spirit was even stronger than the storm. This is a story not just of loss, but of survival, resilience, and the unbreakable bonds that hold a community together when everything else is swept away. The tornado left a visible scar across Harris County's family neighborhoods. Around 100 homes were damaged, each filled with memories and daily life. Klein, Cypress, and Spring, especially subdivisions like Summer Grove Circle and Memorial Northwest, faced the worst. Roofs were ripped away, garages collapsed, and windows exploded from pressure changes. Mature trees were uprooted or snapped, fences obliterated, and familiar landmarks erased in moments. Power lines fell, plunging thousands into darkness and complicating rescue efforts. Sirens and the hum of generators filled the night as families assessed the damage. The storm's path was a stark reminder of nature's power. In the aftermath, the community faced a new reality, one defined by loss, but also by unity. The world they knew had been turned upside down in an instant. For residents, the tornado was a terrifying blur, over in less than 30 seconds. In that brief moment, the world as they knew it was turned upside down. The sky darkened, winds howled, and the familiar comfort of home was replaced by chaos and fear. There was no time to prepare, only to react as ordinary evenings were shattered. Dinner tables were abandoned, televisions left flickering, and families scrambled for safety as the roar of the storm grew louder. The suddenness of it all left many feeling powerless, caught off guard by nature's fury. One resident described the sudden shift. One minute, the wind picked up. The next, our house was shaking and things were breaking. For many, the sound of shattering glass and splintering wood was all they could hear, drowning out their own thoughts and fears. Many huddled in bathrooms or closets, holding loved ones as their homes groaned under the strain. Parents shielded children, whispering reassurances they barely believed themselves. In those cramped spaces, time seemed to stretch, every second filled with uncertainty. The brevity of the storm was its most frightening aspect. Safety turned to chaos in seconds. Debris flew past windows, roof tiles became projectiles, and the very walls seemed to tremble. The noise was deafening, a relentless barrage that made it impossible to think of anything but survival. The sounds of destruction were overwhelming. The crash of falling trees, the shattering of glass, and the howling wind created a symphony of chaos. Some residents described it as sounding like a freight train barreling through their homes, unstoppable and merciless. When the storm passed, disbelief set in as families emerged to survey the devastation. The The silence that followed was almost as shocking as the noise that came before. Streets were unrecognizable, homes battered, and the landscape forever changed. The transition from normalcy to disaster was instantaneous, leaving many in shock. Neighbors embraced, some in tears, others simply staring at the wreckage, trying to process what had just happened. The sense of loss was palpable, but so was the relief at having survived. Those 30 seconds will be etched in memory, a moment of terror, helplessness, and ultimately, survival. For some, it was the longest half-minute of their lives, a time when everything changed and priorities shifted in an instant. The road to recovery would be long, but the will to rebuild was already taking root. Even as the dust settled, neighbors began to help one another, clearing debris and offering comfort. The first steps toward healing were taken together, side by side. The community's strength would be tested, but not broken. In the face of devastation, a spirit of resilience and unity emerged, reminding everyone that even in the darkest moments, hope can be found in the kindness and courage of those around us. Survivors recall the tornado's sound, a deafening roar, like a freight train barreling through their homes. Some say it was so loud, it drowned out their own thoughts, making it impossible to hear anything else. The noise was relentless, shaking windows and rattling nerves, a sound that seemed to come from everywhere at once. For many, it was the most terrifying noise they had ever heard, a warning that something unstoppable was bearing down on them. The sky turned dark, debris swirled, and everyday objects became dangerous missiles. What was once a peaceful neighborhood was suddenly transformed into a chaotic, swirling landscape. Trash cans, tree branches, and even pieces of rooftops were lifted and hurled through the air, crashing into cars and homes. The wind howled, carrying with it the unmistakable scent of rain and earth, mixed with the sharp tang of fear. One barber watched his heavy chairs lifted and hurled outside, a testament to the storm's power. He had always thought those chairs were immovable, anchored to the floor by their own weight. But in the grip of the tornado, they became weightless, tossed about like toys. The destruction inside his shop was overwhelming, a reminder that nothing was safe from the storm's fury. Pressure changes blew out windows and twisted garage doors into mangled wrecks. The force of the wind was so intense that glass shattered inward and metal buckled as if it were made of paper. In seconds, familiar spaces were rendered unrecognizable, transformed by the raw energy of the tornado. These were not the marks of a typical storm, but the unmistakable fingerprints of a tornado. Roofs were peeled away, walls collapsed, and debris was scattered in patterns only a tornado could create. The scars left behind told a story of chaos and survival, of nature's unpredictable strength. Some caught glimpses of the swirling funnel, a dark column connecting sky and ground, moving with terrifying grace. It twisted and danced across the landscape, its path unpredictable and its presence mesmerizing. Witnesses described feeling both awe and dread as they watched the tornado approach, knowing there was nothing they could do to stop it. The combination of the roar and the sight of the vortex left a lasting impression. The sheer scale and power of the tornado was humbling, a reminder of how small and vulnerable we are in the face of nature's might. People clung to each other, hoping for safety, their hearts pounding as the storm raged on. It was a direct confrontation with nature's violence, a memory that would never fade. Survivors emerged to find their world changed, their homes damaged, and their lives forever marked by the experience. The emotional toll was as real as the physical destruction, binding communities together in shared grief and resilience. For many, the sounds and sights of that night would haunt them long after the skies cleared. The memories of the tornado's fury lingered, a constant reminder of the power of nature and the fragility of the world we build around us. The damage to nearly 100 homes was both severe and deeply personal. Roofs were peeled away, exposing interiors to rain and ruin. Garages collapsed, crushing cars and weakening main structures. Shattered windows littered homes with glass, violating the sanctuary families relied on. Personal items, photo albums, toys, were soaked or scattered, turning cherished possessions into debris. Fences were demolished, swing sets and trampolines tossed into neighbors' yards. Lawns became tangled with building materials and tree limbs. The cleanup seemed overwhelming, each piece of debris a reminder of shared trauma. Yet, amid the chaos, neighbors found strength in each other. The storm had ransacked their homes, but not their resolve. Amid the destruction, one family's story captured the storm's surreal power. With Thanksgiving days away, their Christmas tree stood decorated in the living room, a symbol of joy. When the tornado struck, a back window exploded, and the tree was sucked out into the night, ornaments and all. The loss was heartbreaking, but as the family stood in their damaged home, gratitude prevailed. Their tree was gone, but their family was safe. This story became a powerful metaphor. Material things can be replaced, but life cannot. The storm stole a piece of their holiday, but spared what mattered most. In the end, their greatest gift was each other. Even in loss, hope remained. As the tornado's roar faded, sirens filled the air. Emergency crews arrived within minutes. Deputies and firefighters navigated blocked roads and debris to check every home for survivors. Chainsaws and heavy equipment cleared paths, while flashing lights brought hope to the darkness. First responders worked tirelessly, reassuring residents and confirming the miracle: no lives lost. Their training and dedication were on full display, securing the area and preventing further harm. The swift response laid the groundwork for recovery. In the community's darkest hour, help was immediate and unwavering. Harris County's emergency teams proved themselves ready for any challenge. Even before sunrise, the true spirit of Harris County shone through. Neighbors, guided by flashlights, checked on each other and began clearing debris together. Those less affected helped those hit hardest, sharing tools, food, and shelter. Fences were down, but so were the barriers between neighbors. Strangers became family. The tornado united the community in a way nothing else could. As Thanksgiving approached, gratitude was found in acts of kindness and solidarity. The foundation of these neighborhoods was not wood or brick, but compassion and connection. In the face of disaster, the community's heart proved unbreakable. As dawn broke, the destruction was clear, but so was the community's resilience. Neighbors worked side by side, determined to rebuild. The miracle of no injuries became the foundation of hope. Homes and trees can be replaced. Lives and unity are irreplaceable. The road ahead would be tough, but no one would walk it alone. The storm, arriving just before the holidays, tested their spirit, but also revealed their strength. This event will be remembered not for what it destroyed, but for the bonds it forged. The rubble will clear, roofs will mend, and new trees will grow. Harris County will emerge stronger, more connected, and forever grateful for the power of community. No storm can wash away that foundation.